Yo, what is up YouTube? It's your boy Steven, and Black Myth Wukong recently got an update, and this has been one of the best updates to Black Myth Wukong so far. With that update, we have some new items. You know what new items mean? New builds, baby! Alright, you know! Alright guys, in this video we have some new builds in Black Myth Wukong. These builds heavily rely on the new items found in Black Myth Wukong. There are a wide range of rewards, but there are plenty of builds that we can stack onto these new items. The complete list of new rewards are as listed. For the new medicines, we have the Glimmering Scale Pellets and its formula. For the drink and soaks, we have Sour Wine, Frost Enduring Chrysanth, and Robust Antler. For the Kyros, we have the Stone Tiger Tally, Ever-Burning Palace Lantern, and the Fragment of the Ocean Settling Pillar. For the equipment, we have the Three Hill Crown. For the weapons, we have the Ching Mallet, the Fang Scion Staff, and the Leeching Centipede Staff. Without further ado guys, let's get into the builds of this video. First build we have is called the Emperor of Mei. This build is a direct buff to the Tri-Point Double-Edged Spear, and let me tell you, it is not fair. This build requires the new Three Hill Crown to use. This is obtained after the Brothers of Mei challenge in the Gauntlet. Now this challenge is pretty hard, so if you're having trouble with this, I have more builds later in this video, and make sure to check out my previous build guides linked everywhere in this video. The next item we will be unlocking is the Sour Wine. This can be unlocked by completing the Shadow Assembly Challenge Gauntlet. Also, note that any of these items are exchangeable within the builds, so make sure you are playing the game how you want, and with whatever you want. If you don't have these items unlocked yet, it's okay, but these new builds do heavily rely on them. With that said, let's get into the build. First, we have the headgear, Three Hill Crown. This headgear will give us plus 60 defense and plus 3% crit chance. It will also give us the new unique effect, equipping with a Tri-Point Double-Edged Spear enhances light attack. Let me tell you, this effect is way cooler than it sounds. Light attacks using this spear will cause swords to fly into the enemy every 2 or 3 hits. This effect is a new one, and it makes this build even better. For the rest of the armor, we will use the Wukong armor set. We will also get the 3-point unique effect of increasing our crit chance after casting a spell. As you can see from the armor, we are building on crit chance and crit damage. Next we have the weapon, of course, being the Tri-Point Double-Edged Spear. For the vessel, I'm going to choose the Weaver's Needle, giving plus 3% crit chance and plus 6% crit damage. You can choose the Plantain Fan here if you don't like playing with the needle, but here we really want the passive, not the active. For the spirit, I'm going to choose the Earth Wolf. It's a weird choice, but we want its passive ability of giving us more focus on hit. If you are fighting someone where you would like to use a different spirit, a more preferred spirit, then by all means you can change your spirit. For the Kyros, we are picking 3 Cat Eye Beads and 2 Buddha Heads for plus 9% crit chance and plus 18% crit damage. Lastly, the Gourd. For every build in this video, I will be using the Supreme Gourd as it gives the most gourd sips, but feel free to use whatever you like. A good alternative gourd that I love to use is the Infinite Sip Gourd. For the drinks and soaks, I'll be using the Sour Wine, which gives us plus 24 max health, and it increases damage for charged heavies and varied combos, but increases the stamina cost of all actions. We will counteract this effect with some Undying Vines, to grant stamina and stamina recovery. Now on to the guide. This build heavily relies on the use of the thrust stance, so before we go into any more tips, make sure you have this stance down. We will be engaging in every battle with a simple goal of getting focus points as fast as possible. Luckily, the pairing of the Earth Wolves and the Three Hill Crown's passive works perfectly together, granting focus points before you can even finish your combo. As soon as you get your first focus point, find the first opening to use your tactical retreat and forceful thrust to trigger the Tri-Point Spear's unique effect, Flying Swords. This armor set is actually insane, and once you master the playstyle, you will make bosses look like training modes. I highly encourage you to finish the Brothers of Mei Gauntlet and unlock the new headgear, the Three Hill Crown. Also make sure if you want some extra damage, you can use your Sour Wine to sip before you use your varied combos. Next build we have is the updated Wukong build. This next build is going to feature the new Kyros Fragment of the Ocean Settling Pillar. This mythical Kyros is obtained in the new challenge Gauntlet, Monkey Mind. I don't think you all will struggle that much as it's only 2 bosses. Make sure you know these 2 bosses' moves. The Great Sage has some new abilities, so watch out. The Kyros greatly increases the length of the Great Sage transformation, making the Wukong armor set even better than before. A lot of people were complaining, including myself, about how after getting this armor, we still didn't even feel like Wukong. The previous duration was just way too short and frankly, not worth the 4 gameplays we had to do. But with this new Kyros, we are actually now transformed into Wukong for longer than a minute. This armor gives us a total of plus 300 defense, plus 4% crit chance, plus 30% max health, plus 30% mana, plus 30% max stamina, and all of the critical bonuses in the Heavens Equals effects. We will of course need the Jinjubong. For the vessel, you can either choose the Earth Wolf for faster Wukong transformation, or the Turtle Treasurer for bonus damage for 3 to 4 point charged heavies. We will go over why these two spirits are chosen in the guide. Next, we have the Kyros. Here we will pick the Fragment, 2 cat-eyed beads, and 2 Buddha heads. Mainly, we want crit damage. For the drinks and soaks, choose any that give you mana and or focus. Now for the playstyle. Now I will open up the guide by saying that this playstyle is pretty difficult, mainly because of the difference in damage between the Wukong and your normal stance. You will have to start off every battle trying to unlock your Wukong stance. This can take a long time if you continue to use your focus points, so make sure you conserve them. Once we have our full focus bar, we can change into our Wukong stance. You can use Cloud Step and take a sip of your gourd to increase your damage, and then go ahead and hit that 4-point charged heavy. This 4-point charged heavy will do massive damage. The Fragment Kyros that we unlocked makes the Wukong stance so much longer. What I love about this extended time is that you can charge more and more 4-point charged heavies. In the Wukong stance, you can charge your heavies all the way up to the 4th one without having to attack your enemy. This is a huge bonus as you will have a bunch of 4-point charged heavies ready to go. This build packs a punch and focuses on huge crit damage and the Wukong stance. Make sure you give this build a try, and trust me, the old Wukong armor is actually worth it now. Next we have the Tamer of the Elements armor build. The next build I have for you all is one that I've literally been waiting for. It's like Game Science is watching my videos. Please, Game Science, notice me.
Hey yo!
Anyways, this build is quite literally the Tamer of the Elements. I made a Black Myth Wukong build video about the 4 elements in the game, and none of the 6+ builds ever used all 4 elements at once. Well, here we are. Note that this build requires the new weapon that can be crafted only after beating the last challenge gauntlet, Relic Holders. This is a hard challenge, so you'll have to lock in. The staff is called the Fanged Science Staff, and grants us the special effect of 4-point elemental charged heavies. This is literally what I dreamed of. This staff along with a build will use all 4 elements at once, and I can't wait to show you what it is. For the build, we will be going with the popular Poison build. This consists of the Centipede Hat of Transcendence, Centipede Armor, Venomous Arm Guard, and the Centipede Gaiters of Transcendence. We will also need the Death Stinger Soak obtained in Chapter 4. The staff will be the Fanged Science Staff. For the vessel, you will need the Needle for crit stats. For the spirit, we will choose Earth Wolf or the Turtle Treasurer. And for the Kyros, we will need Eye Beads and Buddha Beads. If you don't know how this build works, I highly suggest you check out my Elemental build video, but essentially, we will use the Death Stinger to inflict poison on ourselves. This will give us a significant damage boost. Then we will use enemies to inflict as much critical hits as possible. Usually using Staff Spin will do the trick. These critical hits will be converted into poison damage and thus giving you the poison build. Next, we will use the Staff effect, giving us all of the elements in the palm of our hand. This staff transforms the 4-point charged heavies of each stance to yield an element. Smash Stance is some sort of Frostbane that actually shows one of Erlong's weapons. The Pillar Stance gives us Scorchbane, and the Thrust Stance gives us Thunderbane. Our armor, of course, will give us Poison Bane. Go crazy with this build because it does tons of damage and is one of the coolest looking in terms of effects. Now the next build I'm going to go over is a build that is an updated Poison build. Now I just explained how the Poison build works, but this time we'll be using the new Leeching Centipede Staff. This is obtained after completing the Shadow Assembly Battle Challenge in the Gauntlet of Legend. This build works exactly like the Poison build, except it's a build tailored more to survivability and longevity. This build you can actually start healing from your focus point charged heavies and varied combos. And in my opinion, the healing is actually pretty significant. I actually find myself using the healing through focus points more than I do through boards. This is a very nice alternative build to the Poison build that you can change if you're feeling a little bit of different gameplay or you're struggling on a boss. I want to give an honorable mention to the Chinese New Year build that features the new free Chinese New Year Opulence armor. This new armor has some cool unique effects and I wanted to showcase some of those here. There are also a few new items we can use in the build to make it pretty cool. I won't go over an in-depth build for this one, as I don't think this build is very viable. The Opulence armor just doesn't really do that much damage and isn't really good. Some effects are hard to use and kinda don't work. Anyway, for this build, we need to use the new Opulence armor set and the new Lantern Kyros, which allows us to inflict scorch damage in the Ring of Fire or on lava terrain. This build is pretty cool, showcasing the new Chinese New Year effects, but other than that, there are other builds out there. Try it for yourself, let me know what you think in the comments. If you have any builds for this Chinese New Year armor that's actually good, please put it in the comments below. I've been struggling to find one. And finally, we have Fear No Evil. This build is heavily based on a build that was featured in my Black Myth Wukong New Game Plus 10 video as the last build to defeat the final boss. Shout out to Jared Holt for this build, as he was the one that actually gave it to me. I just tweaked it. The only thing different here is we are using the new Qing Mallet staff obtained after beating the Collective Strength challenge in the Gauntlet. For the armor in this build, we use the See No Evil headband, the Yin Yang robe, and the Bull King arm guard and greaves. For the vessel, we'll use the Wind Tamer, and for the spirit, we'll use the Turtle Treasurer. For the Kiros, we'll use the Jade Moon Rabbit, the Golden Sun Crow, the Boshan Censer, the Golden Spike Plate, and the Amber Prayer Beads. You can also use the new Kiros Stone Tiger Tally and the Tiger Tendon Belt for additional damage boost after seeing through your enemies. Now for this build specifically, we've used the Infinite Gourd with damage reduction and focus point soaks. Moving on to the gameplay. I first want to give a warning about this build because it requires a lot of skill. The Fear No Evil build rewards you when you see through enemies, perfect dodge, and charge 3 to 4 point heavies. These are all difficult things to do in battle, so I highly suggest it for skilled players. The damage reduction and defense you get from this build prevents you from getting one shot from enemies with insanely strong moves. This build is tailored to high New Game Plus games and hard bosses. In order to use this build successfully, you will need to see through enemies to activate your staff special effect. By seeing through enemies, we will continuously charge focus and reward you with focus regeneration. I highly suggest use the thrust stance for evading and seeing through enemies, while using the smash stance to punish enemies when they are open. Once you have 3 to 4 focus points, don't be afraid to use them and inflict damage and stun. This is not the strongest build in the game because the Sandplate just doesn't do enough damage, but it is the best build for surviving the hardest boss fights. This build is very good for damage reduction and helps you survive long and hard boss fight battles. Alright guys, that is going to do it for the builds of this video. I have a bunch of build videos, so make sure you guys check them all out. I make a bunch of Black Myth Wukong content, so make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and turn on notifications to stay tuned with my content. Yeah guys, I'll see you guys next one. Peace.